Så. Hej och välkomna till Workers and Resources, Soviet and Republics and Workers and Resources. And hello everyone and welcome to Workers and Resources, Soviet Republic. We are going to visit DDB, or the Demokratiska Böhmen, the Democratic Bohemia, or something. I think I envisioned this land to be. I christened this land, you might say. Some years ago, I think it's about 25 years ago, that I was put in complete absolute power here. And it's actually Christmas Eve on the 25th year since my reign, so it's paused. I never run the game paused unless there is a power outage. That is the capital. I was thinking that we would start out, maybe, you know what, let's start where it all started, where this beautiful republic started. There's the capital. I'm gonna get to that, don't worry. And over there is Kirarush. There's a lot of people living there, 11,000 or something, but that's not where it all started. No, where it all started was over in. Sorry about the camera work here. It's not perfect for the moment, but here is where it all started. This is Demokratikraft, or democracy power, basically, and it is named thusly because of this. Up here we have a great source of coal, and we have hundreds and hundreds of people working there. Maybe, 170 people working there actually, and we're putting out 500 tons of coal ore per day, and the quality of the source is 71%, so we're doing quite well. And we actually have educated people working in the mine too. Isn't that lovely? And from the beginning, we started out by turning that resource that we had up in the mountain there, and converting that into electricity, and also some exhausts, some minor pollution. Let's look at the pollution, shall we? I think there's a pollution monitoring station, what should we call it, thingamajig here around somewhere. Where did I leave it? Did it burn down? I know there was a fire on one of those things not that long ago, but no, I don't think it burnt down. I think it's over here, maybe. I mean, I tell you, this game, it is boring to play without day-night cycle on, but then again, it is rather annoying sometimes at night, but it is also rather lovely. Anyway, the pollution, view actual pollution. No, this is not some fake news thing. This is actual pollution that we got going on here, and it's quite significant amount of pollution that we're causing here by turning that coal into electricity. Now we are making some money from it. However, we also dig up coal. We dig up coal there, we put it on a big heap here. We have one coal ore processor here going to feed all the power stations, and then we have two coal ore processing things here that feed into a series of aggregate storage, where there is nothing, basically, because the steel mill is running at. That's disappointing. Only 300 workers in there right now. I guess the bus hasn't been for a while. There will be more buses coming. Don't worry about that. There will be plenty of buses coming. And in addition, I mean, if we're going to go along with the way history went, So we started out here by generating electricity from the coal we dug up from the mountain here. And this is the original town. We are now a population of 7,858, and this is the only town that we have immigrants in. We have 88 immigrants, and that was in the great pandemic of somewhere in the 60s, where the original educated people that we got in here by randomly moving citizens around to the tower blocks that we so magnificently put up here. The educated ones started dying out or something, and they weren't replenished because we didn't have a university, of course. So I had to import 88 Soviet experts. That is the only immigration, actually, that we've had in this Republic of the Democratic Bohemia, or wherever. It could be anything, really. But what we did then was to go into the oil business, and very little remains of what was the original oil business setup, but the oil refinery is still the original one. And now we do have a little bit more of a robust setup here. We got trains coming in with oil and taking out fuel up this one. This is only bringing in oil apparently, and we have a guy here. He is going to load up bitumen out of these two tanks and go straight to the border and sell it for rubles. Here we have another train coming. Look, this. Now this one, yes, this one is going to empty out his load of 408 tons. He's got a full load on there oil, and that is going to go into this pumping station and into these 3 containers, oil fuel storages, which are added together through a pumping station like this one. And we got a oil refinery now of 300, 400 people employed. We are churning it out quite quickly. All of our fuel tanks are full, actually. We're gonna stop production here because you guys aren't selling the fuel quick enough. Well, he's loading up on fuel now. That's good. That's excellent. That means that it is working quite well. And he is filling up on bitumen. 193 tons there. So the oil business was booming great for us. In the beginning, we built the oil refinery. We built a bit of an oil storage facility here, and we just imported oil. So we imported oil, we turned it into bitumen and fuel. We had, actually, I do believe, I am rather sure that it is still the same train actually going here back and forth that we've had for all this time, since 1960, basically. And you're going out with a full load of fuel, and he will unload on the way to the border with the NATO neighbors. Yes, and on the way he will unload on these train diesel stations. So they will get filled up on the way. And it is. I mean, this game is a lovely game for trains. The sound they make, the way they move, the weight to them. This train weighs 677 tons, and I mean you can feel it. It's trundling along here at 30 kilometers an hour, and it's having to work rather hard to get up to speed here up this. It's a bit of an incline, it is. And the rails in our nation are built by a complete lunatic. you see the way the rails work in this game, or actually laying down any sort of road or railway or building or anything, is very finicky. The system for it. I mean, it is possible to understand and get it to work somewhat properly, but there is stuff that you just can't do. You can't flatten off the top of this mountain and have a perfectly flat place there to build. You just can't. So you have to adapt somewhat to the landscape, and that's what the rails of our great nation does quite a lot, which means that at places they are a bit over complicated. They might look overcomplicated at first glance, but also because of how the trains and the train signaling and everything works in this game, which is also a bit special and not intuitive, maybe. But there is a method to the madness in there somewhere. Certainly is. So here we go. We should have a train coming out of the tunnel here any minute now. Yes, we do. And of course it's an oil train because it's heading down to the refinery. There we go again. And he's struggling hard to get the... he didn't make it through. Oh yeah, he did make it through. Sorry about that. Yeah, let's continue following you along here at 30 kilometers an hour. I love that the game takes its time. You are transporting 400 tons of diesel here across your old rickety railway. You're gonna have to accept that we're not going to go at the greatest of speeds at all times. And also, as you see, here's a railway crossing, for example. This is obviously there is a bottleneck here because we go single track for a bit, and that might not seem like a reasonable way to do it. But considering this is a way I found to make rails work in this game. It is to, when there is a series of tracks that you need. Multiple paths that you need to connect somehow. The most safest way is to put it through a piece of single track railway where you only have signals at the going out of and going into the single piece of track. Don't have any signals ever of the single track. Anyway, we're moving along here quite nicely, actually at a pace of 95 kilometers per hour with our 677 tons of diesel. Well, it's not only, it's 408 tons of diesel, the rest is the steel of the train, of the steel horse here, the steel carriage that is taking the train that is taking our fuel to the border. Anyway, we started up with importing oil, and that is certainly a viable business model for your republic. If you put the refinery as close to the border as possible, you will get very low delivery cost for the oil that you're importing, and with that you can make a decent enough profit by just importing oil and selling the fuel. And let's see here, yeah, there was actually a bit of fuel to deposit there. As I was saying, you can make a bit of money doing that, enough to keep your republic going and allow it to expand. But that was in the beginning. We have been flat broke at times, friends. We have been completely flat broke. Look, there's a coal train with 653 tons of coal on it. It's almost 1,000 ton train that going through there. Yeah, we have been bankrupt in rubles, and I don't know if we've been bankrupt in dollars. Maybe we have been bankrupt in rubles, and but as we've always made our own power, and we have been exporting power for not all through history, but quite often. And when, in that case, when you run out of money, as long as you have a reasonable, safe setup regarding your power plants and coal supply and everything, you will get by. You will get out of the crutch. Excuse me. Yes. And what are we passing now? Yes, we're passing Kirarush, the great town of Kirarush. This is actually quite an interesting place. This place is the largest town that we have in our republic. 15,000 people living here. And it's all working thanks to... There's only one store, it's this one. But people are not hungry. And we are not importing any food or meat or clothes. The only thing that we are importing are electronics. And we have the warehouses full of both food and clothes. That's nice to see. But what makes this work is that we have a trolley bus, or what do you call it, a cable bus. And yes, a bus that is connected through power lines. A trolley bus. That goes all through town. All around town, I should say. It goes past the medical university there, where we have a lot of students. In the auditorium, we have professors. They are all getting taught really well. And they go past the shopping center, of course, where a lot of people are going. These stops are one of the very few buildings in the game road architecture related things that actually can have through traffic. So a regular bus stop like this one over here, even though it has a street connection there and we can see a bus coming in and stopping there, he would never be able to just pass through, and nor will anyone else. That also goes for people walking. So people can walk in, they can wait, and they can walk out again. Then I believe that they can leave through any connection. Yeah, this is a big city. 15,000 people, and they are not that off. They don't have any cars. Only the people in the capital get cars. But 8,775 radios, 6,912 televisions, and almost 5,000 computers we've got here. Zero immigrants, about 100,000 births, and 73,500 deaths, and 14,223 escapes. Yes, the thing about this city is that we have a lot of people here, but there isn't that much for them to do. There's not a lot of work here. We have some of them are working here in the food production area, and we make food, and we make food here as well. Apparently we don't have any crops right now, but there's crop strain coming here. So here we make food and we make alcohol, and we're all good on that front. And so there's one place for them to work, and the other place is by going on this lovely bus here, bus ride through the mountain. Yeah, like this. So you see, we've got 95 eager workers here. Maybe let's get back to that train later. Going up the hill here, and what is up the hill? The bus is struggling. The roads are rough. The roads are almost as bad as the railways, but not quite. I think the railways are a bit more crazy, or some roads may be crazy too. Okay, so the bus is coming in here. We're gonna look at them all going to the mine, and it's an iron mine. Oh, this is a coal mine. Okay, the iron mine is somewhere else. Yes, this is the auxiliary coal mine, where we dig out coal, we process it, coal ore, and we process it into coal, and we have a lot of it stored up here, a lot of it, and every now and then a train comes in here and picks up a load and goes to the steel mill with it. Let's see how far this guy has come. He's on his way to the customs house. Let's have a look. Oh, he's going over the Great Viaduct. Look at it. Oh my god, this viaduct. Guys, this viaduct is amazing. You see, we have the train coming up quite a good elevation here. We have a big drop down in the valley, down to the river, and it's just not feasible to lose all that kinetic energy that you're going to lose and have to bleed off here down the hill, and then to gain it back up again when you have a train that weighs, oh, okay, this is not that heavy a train, but you can have a train that is over 1,000 tons. We have steel trains, for example, going, and we wouldn't want them to lose all that elevation. Look, here's another one. He has just loaded up on oil from one of our oil fields out here in Fegeni. As this American locomotive with the, I suppose they are Russian oil tankers somehow. I mean, this is a lovely game. When you look at it like this, it is so addictive, this game. It's like your model train set. You just want to look at it when you build something, and it is a struggle to build, and it's very frustrating at times. But then you can also just sit back and look at it like this, and it is it's quite rewarding. Yeah. So, sorry about all these autosaves. Maybe I should turn them down a bit. So that's not where they are. Where are they? Here. Oh. This doesn't make for good viewing now, does it? Let's increase that to 10 minutes from now. And welcome back. I made a mess of things, and there was really no point to show that. So sorry about that. I needed a drink. My throat was going quite dry. As we can see, the train is still struggling along, so it is moving quite far to sell this stuff. It is moving all the way across the Republic, this end of the Republic anyways. So we started out down here actually, and we have moved all the way up here. And we are finally approaching the border with the NATO countries, the NATO side. It's not over, where we are going to sell this fuel for dollars. As you can see, we are working on our dollar account that we have, of course, in a Swiss bank account. And yeah, that's basically our savings fund, or pensions fund, or whatever you might call it. It is certainly not something that the leadership of the great country would take and just disappear with, or something like that when it all goes down. No, actually the great leader has had an epiphany that the NATO brethren, the NATO people are actually going to win this thing. Actually, maybe quite soon. I have a feeling there was something that happened not long ago in Chernobyl. I think there's something going on with the Soviet Union, and I'm not trusting those Russians completely. Nothing against the Russian people, but the Moscow and the Kremlin is a bit. I don't trust them. So we have invested in building up a fund in dollars, because we believe that in the long run that currency will give us more buying power, simply. Yes. It takes a while to unload, but then again there is 400 tons of fuel, then there we're going back again. Yes. What else? I mean, there's so much stuff here. Here's the farm. All of these farms are to feed the people. This stuff isn't used at all. That was an intermediate storage that didn't work out so well. So the trains go from up there, they collect crops, they bring them here, they wait until they're unloaded. So the factories are using the crops from the train and put some crops in the warehouse, and they put food in the warehouse, and we have trucks coming by quite often. Here we have one that is probably, it wasn't actually empty going in, but yeah, it did 5 tons of food there. We go through a lot of food. There hasn't been a famine in recent years. There has been some famines where, due to logistical challenges, especially around this area here, we've had a few accidents, let's say, and some people might have perished. Yeah, let's not dwell on that. Let's have a look at the capital. Yes, the beautiful capital, which has not one, but 2 television stations. We have one that is dedicated to cultural enjoyment, and it has a rating of 88%. People are loving this television channel. 61% of the people has a television, and currently we have an audience of 2,200. That might not sound like much in a republic of 56,000, but if you take a look at what people are doing in their spare time, you see that they are watching TV and they are gaining a lot of cultural enjoyment. I actually had a town that didn't have any food for a long time, and the happiness that they got from watching television was enough to keep them alive quite a bit longer than they probably would have survived without the television to entertain them. So this one is the first channel. This is DDB1, and this is second channel, which is dedicated to sports, and for some reason we don't have as many people working here right now. It only has a rating of 22% and only 2 viewers, which is not that much. But it happens that we get a lot more people working in the second station than the first one, and in those cases people will switch over and watch sports instead. Sports is quite overrated, and it's also, this town, I don't think there's a single football field or playground of any sort in this town. They only have cars. That is how people get around here. At least some people. The ones that are loyal. We have, of course, the old cathedral here in the center of town. It is rather magnificent, and we have most of the old town houses going here. Still going here. We have, people are happy as can be. They're just can't do any sports, but well, you have a car, there are pubs everywhere, there's food. The food is, as far as I can tell, free in the stores. You just go there and pick it up, and then the next day maybe you work, maybe you don't. If you show up at the workplace and they accept you to work there, you will work. If not, well, then you have the day off and you still get to eat for free and everything. It's communism. It's great, right? It works fantastically well here, as you can see. the money is going up, or rather the resources. Now this is a bit pathetic. There's only one worker on this bus. This is up here on this mountain, on this hillside here. This is the iron mine. Yes. We are pushing out 370 tons a day, or per work day. We have 2 ore processors. We have aggregate storages, lots of it, and we have this one down here as well. There's engine transfers, there's stuff, there are trains. Here's one going, almost 1,000-ton train, 660 tons of iron ore. And this one is just waiting for the green signal, and there he goes. I mean, there are times where additional commentary is just superfluous. Oops, sorry. It is a bit slow, this game. I mean, it's good that it takes time, but sometimes you just want to follow the train along and show off a bit of what you built here. Here we have a crazy project. This bridge that we built for road traffic. That was, well, somebody got it into him that we should have the greatest bridge in the Soviet Union, even though we aren't really a member of the Soviet Union, but we should still have a greater bridge than anyone else. And we built it with it's actually our own steel in that bridge, and the asphalt is made of our own bitumen. However, we have imported all the gravel because I just can't be bothered to dig gravel out of the ground when it is so cheap to import. So the train is moving along here, along the river, and this is what you have to take into account when you're building in this game, both rail and roads. Well, okay, you're up here. Let's take this one for example. I have a rail line going out here that is insane. We have oil here getting pumped up over a huge area. We have to raise the level of the ground. We have to push out the lake a bit out of the way to put down our oil rigs and pump oil out of the ground here. But the rail line to get through this mountain pass here, this is some proper craziness we got going on here. It is twisty and turning, and it's a wonder that we don't have any more derailments than we do, because the trains, they don't seem to slow down. They don't care that there's a bend in the track coming. They just push through at 95 kilometers an hour with 600 or whatever tons of oil on board. That's an empty iron train. Where is an oil train? Here's an oil train. That one. Oh, this is a fuel train. This one goes from the fuel oil refinery over there, and it makes its way through to the train diesel stations along this line. And it also unloads onto a, let's say that we have a bit saved for a rainy day over there, maybe somewhere. And here we have the Republic's first trolley bus. It is just going round and round and round and round and round. We have plenty of coal that we can burn to get electricity, so we can afford this little enjoyment that we have going on here, this little spectacle. For example, the train drivers, when they are waiting here at the lights, at the blocks at the signals, rather, they can be waiting for quite a while sometimes, and then they have this little trolley bus going round and round and round for them to look at. Isn't that nice of me to offer that to my train drivers? So over here we have again the steel area. It's called steel or stål, which is steel. And this train, I bet that this train is actually by alcohol exporter. Yes, 24 tons of alcohol on board. We are taking the surplus alcohol and selling it to the Soviets. Figure they might need it in the Soviet Union. And yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. That's confused and quick and all over the place review of my Republic. Thank you for watching. Good night.